Hello, everybody, and welcome to Spiritual Successor, a comedy video game design podcast inspired by Polygon's Cool Games, Inc. I am your host, AJ Hart.
And I am your other pantsless host, Blake Rea. AJ and I are recording in separate places this week because of we're a little bit on lockdown. And AJ, I could just have no pants and underwear right now, and you wouldn't know.
Why would you put that image into me at the very beginning of the podcast? Because, like, even now, I have to imagine you with your dick out
free,
now.
bro.
Just balls out, balls on your seat, just chilling. Like, hey, how's it going? It's me, podcasting. And you have, like, a t-shirt on still. It's just like your zones out.
You know what my t-shirt says on it?
It says danger choking hazard.
No. It's that SUCC hoodie that Andrew made.
Oh, yeah, that's right. So Animal Crossing's out. It's Animal Crossing and Doomsday. All came out this weekend.
We were talking about it. We were going to launch merch, but we decided our whole merch line is going to exist in Animal Crossing.
Yeah. Luckily, we don't have to do any of the labor for that.
Andrew's got our back.
Yeah, one of our dear followers hooked us up and built some Animal Crossing hoodies, and it's very, very cute and very adorable, and we will be reblogging that on Twitter.
I don't think cute is the descriptor. Like, it just says suck on it.
It's adorable.
Jesus. All right. If you guys are new to the podcast, we are a comedy video game design podcast where we take your lovely ideas from YouTube, Reddit.
Not official channels. Hold on, wait. The first one wasn't.
I thought I was going to be able to get that past you. From Reddit, email, Twitter, and YouTube. It's
not official channels.
Oh fuck! Didn't you get like a Facebook message the other day?
I did.
Like with a submission.
We'll talk about that later. But yes, we did get a submission through Facebook Messenger, and that was very clever. Don't do it again.
Yeah. So AJ. I think we talked about it a little bit yesterday on the recording that went bad.
Yeah, we had a corrupted file yesterday, so we're going at it again.
We were about 15 minutes into an episode. Thank God it was only that much, and then the battery on my recorder died. So, and when this recorder dies in the middle of recording, it just deletes the whole file. So that's 15 minutes of Doom and Animal Crossing jokes that we have lost. Actually, I was also eating a lot of donuts, which was super fucking obnoxious in hindsight. You did crush
like 8 donuts in the 15-minute mark, and I was really impressed and also horrified about the noises that were coming off of your microphone and into my ears.
Just the wet feel, or actually no, the wet sounds of powdered donut.
And we lost that, and now our poor audience will never get to experience your horrible donut crimes.
I'm kind of grateful for it. It was very disgusting.
Somebody is so bummed about that.
I
don't know who.
Hey.
All
right. Give me your first game idea.
All right, I got a video game submission. This comes from I Am Not Witty Enough for a Funny Name at ARP1033. A game based off of Cats and Dogs, the movie of dubious quality.
You know what's so funny? That was like one of my favorite movies growing up.
Was it really?
Actually, wait. It was one of my favorites, but it was also, I've told you this story before where like I lived in a house of like 10 kids. They were all legitimately my parents' kids. Mm-hmm. They would do the thing where they would just leave movies rerunning day after day after day after day. Cats and Dogs was one of them. Among the others was Bible Man, which was a lightsaber superhero Christian movie.
Hell yes, Bible Man.
White Chicks and Treasure Planet was another one of them.
Okay.
Treasure Planet's good.
All of these 3 out of 4 of these movies rule so hard, actually.
Which one's the one that you don't think rules that hard?
Cats and Dogs.
Really?
Yeah, this movie, as I remember, it was very bad.
You don't like the kick-ass Russian blue cat that pooped grenades? Like, that was my favorite fucking part. Actually, no, it didn't poop grenades. It hacked them up, I think.
It did hack up furball grenades. Here's my problem with that movie, and it's because, like, this was the time when, like, we were getting all of these horrible CG dog mouth movies, right? Like, we were
yeah, like
getting
Snow Dogs,
Cats and
Cats
Dogs,
versus
Snow Dogs, Air Buddies. Was Cats and Dogs the one where like the one kid's dog could like talk to him, or am I thinking of a different movie? And there was a boxer, and the boxer was like, "Ooh, can I have a cookie? I want a cookie. I'm the boxer dog, and I want a cookie."
I think that is the same movie because I remember each dog having really weird personalities, and that sounds like it makes sense because I don't think he could talk to them because no, they couldn't. I remember there's a scene where like he's barking at the kid, but the kid can't understand him. So I don't think they can understand each other.
Was it a Baby Geniuses 2 thing where in order for the human to talk to the dog, they had to accept their inner dog, and then they could talk to the dog?
That sounds
like in
dumb.
everybody's favorite movie, Super Baby Geniuses 2.
AJ, I have no idea what that movie is, and I think there's a reason for that.
Super Baby Geniuses 2 was...
Does it have anything to do with Boss Baby?
No, absolutely not.
Okay. Let's come back to the idea because we've been I've been sitting here without pants, and now I don't know. I'm getting frustrated.
Now you're just swinging in the wind.
Yeah, dude. So I think it's kind of like World of Warcraft, where you get to pick your alliance.
Yes.
It's your like what
Cats or dogs, Horde or Alliance. Yes, I'm into that.
So who's the Horde and who's the Alliance? I think dogs are Alliance because dogs are universally kind of good, but not always. I think cats are better, but let's go with the social standard, right?
Well, no, that's the whole thing, right? Because like in World of Warcraft, is World of Warts, Warts of Warcraft,
whatever the fuck you're just saying.
I'm so sorry. I don't know what happened. I just became horribly unable to pronounce that.
Not seeing the sun is slowly degrading your brain, bro. You need to go for a walk or something.
Well, the issue is that I've been playing too much Animal Crossing, and I'm slowly starting to learn their language.
Oh God!
Then
you're perfect for the job because you've been spending time around animals and shit like that.
So World of Warcraft has like the Horde, which is just a better and more interesting group of people, and then there's the Alliance, which are like, we're the good guys, and they're all just horribly racist.
Oh shit! That is kind of the thing. Well, I mean,
which was of course the plot of Cats and Dogs.
Dogs weren't racist to cats. Cats were just like innately evil in that movie.
What are the different classes of cats and dogs we can get? So we could
just use them from the movie.
The spy ninja cat. There is
Well, you look at it like Counter-Strike, not Counter-Strike. What's that one where you're like having to break into houses?
Counter-Strike. Let's use this. The Rainbow Six Counter-Strike or Rainbow Six Siege?
No, Rainbow Six Siege. Yeah, where it's like there's the tactician, there's like the brawn guy that has like lays a bunch of traps and stuff. There's like the gadgeteer people, which each side did have that. There was the dog that would like come out of the manholes or whatever and give you like technical advice, and he's like that adorable dog that's like shaved everywhere except for the mane.
Yeah.
So are we going to this? Is it basically like Rainbow Six Siege, where it is like Rainbow Six Siege but you're playing animals that are breaking into opposing animals' houses.
Yes.
So you're either playing the defenders, which the defenders can be cats or dogs, and then you're just you're invading. So what are some of the tools that cats use? Okay,
hairball grenade.
Hairball grenade. You know what's fuck? I think
grappling hook.
I think one of the cats had a glaive, like like Blade, like he had that fucking like 5-bladed shuriken handle thing.
Can we talk about glaives for a second?
Sure, I love glaives.
Why the fuck are there two different things that are both called glaives in the world? There's like a glaive as like the big ass net like shuriken that you can throw, and then there's a glaive which is just like a big knife on a stick. And I've always been a huge fan of the big knife on a stick glaive. And when I saw somebody be like, oh, a glaive, like the Kroll glaive or something. And I was like, what the fuck are you talking about? That is a ninja star. So, can somebody please tell me why we have two things that are both called glaives and they're completely different? That would be like, this is like the real world situation of like, that like incredibly good, I'm sorry, I almost misspoke. You know that incredibly good movie of Romeo and Juliet where the guy's like, give me my sword, and he brings out a Tommy gun? This is like the real world situation of that, where there are two things called glaive, and they're so different.
So hot take, don't really like that movie.
Fuck you.
2, what if you do a thing where it's like every weapon is that? So it's like each side... No. Like each side uses the same like named weapon, but the weapons are different. So the cats use the throwing glaive while the dogs use their cool mouths to like have a spear. By the way, I forget where I saw it, but there was like a... There's this artist that makes like a lot of old like ink, Japanese ink art, and they just draw dogs with armor and spears and bows and shit. And it's the most adorable thing ever. I wish I remember the name of the artist, but it's really beautiful. So
they would be in charge of giving us different cosmetic skins for all of our cool dog factions and our cool dog insurgents. I don't know what we're going to call the characters.
How about this? Good boys or bad boys? Like, you've been a good boy. I keep, whenever my cat pisses on the front door, I call him a bad boy. So, like, I think that's pretty applicable. But here's the thing. All the skins are from various early 2000s, like, bad CG dog movies.
There's an Air Bud skin set.
There's an Air Bud skin set, and instead of grenades, he has, like, explosive basketballs or something. What are some CG cat movies from that time? I think it was like mainly dogs.
Oh shit!
Which is racist.
Well, because dogs, you can actually command a dog. When have you ever seen a cat sit on command?
I mean, have you seen Cats versus Dogs? They were pretty good at it. Have you gone to the Universal live show where they show the animals?
From doing this bit and this game's submission, it is that I don't remember a single thing about cats and dogs.
Well, I think we've been talking about it enough. So, do you want to go into another game?
Yes, you give me one.
AJ, as you know, Animal Crossing and Doom just came out, right?
Yes, I referenced that already. I've already made that joke for this podcast session, Blake. We have to move on to another unique joke.
Well, guess what? We're coming back to that joke. Gazzer suggests at Just Gazzer on Twitter, the Animal Crossing Doom crossover we all want. AJ, I've played a shit ton of Doom. You've played a shit ton of Animal Crossing. You're going to name something from Animal Crossing, and I'm going to name something from Doom, and we got to make a level out of that, okay?
Okay, give me a second. All right, I'm ready. On 3, we're going to name something, okay?
Okay, sure.
Okay. 1, 2, 3. Paying off debt.
Super shotgun. Oh, so it's a super shotgun using to pay off debt. So is this the game where we finally kill Tom Nook, where Isabelle loses her shit and actually kills Tom Nook?
A super shotgun where somebody is trying to pay off their debt is just BioShock Infinite.
What?
Use the shotgun and wipe away their debt.
Oh, fuck, you're right. I guess we just made BioShock then, huh? Who knew BioShock Infinite was just a copy of... BioShock from, 2015 is just a copy of 2020's Doom Eternal and I was going to say Assassin's... Fuck, that's a side thing that I keep doing. Everybody keeps referencing Animal Crossing as AC on, Twitter. So I keep thinking it's Assassin's Creed, and I'm like, this was here first. Stop it.
I keep on thinking of it as Animal Crossing and Assassin's Creed and getting that mixed up also.
So, if we're going to make a crossover of Doom and Animal Crossing, side note, I know we've talked about it on previous episodes, but all of the art that comes out where it's just Isabelle and Doom Guy just hanging out and being friends is just the coolest, cutest fucking thing ever.
Maybe that's the game we need then. We need Doom Guy in Animal Crossing and Isabelle in Doom.
So battle mode in Doom allows you to have new skins. So is it just going to be we can go through the whole game as Isabelle?
No, I want Isabelle to be a weapon that Doom Guy can pick up and get ammo for.
Okay, tell me, what kind of ammo do you feed an Isabelle, AJ?
Smaller guns.
Is it just bell? She fires bells from her mouth, because that's the currency, right?
No, I was thinking that scene from Guardians of the Galaxy where Groot and Rocket Raccoon are just like rockets spinning all around Groot while Groot's also shooting a gun, I think. I want that to be like the whole game. I want you to run around as Doomslayer and a tiny Isabel is clambering all over you, shooting her own tinier gun.
How about this? So one of two things can happen. They introduce something new in this game where you are meeting more of like Doomslayer's like clan or what he's from.
You're meeting what?
Yeah, you're meeting like who the like the Night Order. I'm trying to avoid spoilers because this game like is way more in depth in terms of lore than the first one was. But you get to see where Doom Guy is from, and it's in the trailer, so this isn't a spoilery thing. But he gets a new sword, like that cool red one. That's just made of pure negative it's just made of rage energy. I'm thinking you either do a thing where Doom Guy's wielding that sword and Isabel is on his shoulder with a gun, or
I like Doom this Guy mental image a lot.
Or we have Doom Guy with a gun and Isabel wielding a giant fucking sword, like a berserk-sized Dragon Slayer sword that's made of her pure-ass rage.
I do like the idea of Isabel with a big fuck-off sword.
So how about this? So if our whole basis is super shotgun to pay off debt, right? So they're like these hell priests in Doom, right?
You could just call them Tom Nook.
So that's what I was gonna say. Tom Nook becomes a hell priest for Doom's like hell, and they have to fight their fucking way to Mars. And you know how we fucking do this, AJ? Because like the whole new game is about customizing your own island, right?
Yes.
You have to fight your way through the 8 planets to get to Mars. You start off on Pluto, and you can customize each planet along the way. So you have to beat all of the monsters on that level or that planet, and then you could customize that planet however you want because it's your own private little planet. But each planet has a limited access to certain resources. So like you can only mine for this thing on Pluto. But then you get to the next planet, you can start building new things with the materials from Pluto. And I forget the next planet up. Forgive me. Jupiter?
I don't know. Who do I look like? Nostradamus?
Nah, you make commercials for scooters. I can't ask you planet questions.
I got another submission for you.
Okay, tell me about it.
This comes from the Spiritual Successor Reddit from Too Many Bees, a crossover in the style of Crash Bandicoot Purple and Spyro Orange with current PlayStation mascot characters.
Have we done this before?
We kind of did, but it was with 2 random crossovers that you and I each picked.
Yeah, I don't really remember much about that one, but I remember we did something. So can
we
you
ended
get
up
submission to me again?
Essentially, what I want you to do is name a Sony poster child character that's current, like a current Sony poster character.
Okay, that's easy.
And I will also name a Sony current poster character.
Okay.
All right. Are we ready?
Yes.
All right. 3, 2, 1. Kratos.
Ellie. So it's Ellie in the God of War universe?
And so Kratos in the... and Kratos.
The power dynamic is vastly different. So I think Kratos will just... All of the problems they have in Last of Us, where they're like, we need to fight our way across the city, Kratos fucking doesn't have to deal with it.
Kratos looks at the zombies meanly and they just burst into flames.
Yeah, like Kratos has beaten up zombies before, hasn't he? Gone to like the underworld and the original the original Kratos games, in the original God of War games.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, he went to hell, and then there was the horrible mini game or the horrible platforming segment you had to beat the game.
Oh my God,
that they did not play
that.
test, and so you had to spend hours trying to climb up a fucking ladder.
Oh my God, I remember coming over a couple of times to your house where you were just in the middle of playing that, and I'm like, it's been a week and you're still at this section. What happened?
It was so infuriating.
You're talking about the cliff one, right? Where if you get knocked off, you just fall all the way back to the bottom of the level, right?
Yeah, it was when you were in hell, there was like a ladder you had to climb up that was like a spinning wall of knives, and it was apparently, supposedly, not play tested. Like that was a thing that nobody got around to play testing to see how difficult it would be to actually climb up this spinning ladder of knives. And it took me like 3 or 4 hours to just try to climb up this stupid thing. But we're not going to worry about the horrible knife ladder.
So
We're gonna worry about.
I don't know how Ellie's gonna get past Knife Ladder, dude.
I don't know how Ellie's going to deal with literally anything because, like,
she's a strong badass, but like, I don't know.
I like the idea of Ellie and Atreus trying to hang out and being edgy teenagers together, though, and going on their own incredible road trip.
Okay, so they're road tripping through through Greek mythology, basically.
Yes.
So is like her end goal that she needs to go and like just beat the shit out of Zeus to be sent back to her world?
Yeah, of course. She needs to get some sort of godlike power to jump the multiverse and get back to her cool zombie-infested land, which is apparently much safer than her current situation.
You know, it would be interesting. Okay, stick with me here for a second. Why don't we use like the modern Kratos game?
Yeah, the new God of War.
The new God of War and the new Last of Us. Because the new Last of Us, Ellie's in the pilot seat, and Joel is kind of old and a little bit frail now. So both of these games are about like taking care of somebody. Because like Kratos has to take care of his son, right?
Yes.
So what if they just swap them? So it's Ellie
swap the kids.
So no, well you can either. Oh my God, that's even better. You swap their fucking kids. Oh holy shit, that's so much better than what I was thinking. So like, fucking Ellie has to take care of this rowdy little angry boy who's part god. Holy shit, and Kratos has to just mind this other dad. And,
okay, wait,
dude,
yes.
Think of the dad jokes, though. Think of, like, the amazing dad jokes between Kratos and Joel. Because Joel will joke. Kratos has no fucking capacity to joke.
Okay, so which are we going to go on? Are we taking the idea of Kratos and Joel hanging out while the kids are hanging out? Or do we want to swap the kids and keep the adults? So Joel gets Atreus and Kratos gets Ellie.
I don't know. I think the idea of the parents having to fight their way to their kids and then the kids having to fight their way to the parents is kind of funnier.
Funnier than the situation we could have of Ellie explaining to Kratos what a comic book is.
Oh, shit. Oh, or reading her joke book to him. Oh, fuck. It's like, I do not get the context of these jokes. What is a car? I don't know what a car is. Okay, yeah, you sold me. Joel taking care of this rowdy boy would be very fun. Like, actually, you know what? I think Joel and Arturus would actually get along really well.
Joel and Atreus would get along very well because they're both a little like silent and they're just not very talkative people.
Well, I think Arturus wants to joke more. He wants to hang out. So, like, this would be cool because, like, when Ellie finally breaks Kratos and teaches him how to laugh, Arturus is going to have a better time when he comes back, right?
What I also really like is the first Last of Us had this whole arc about Ellie finally getting her first gun, and we both know that Kratos would be like, "Hello, Ellie. It's nice to meet you. I brought you 3 swords."
Oh my God, and it's like fucking you do it like the opening level is you deciding which sword you want to go with. So it's like it's like Infamous 2 where you get to choose which power you get and it changes the rest of the game basically.
Oh, okay, yeah, when you choose between being a good or evil character like halfway through the game. Okay.
Yeah, and then depending on which one you choose, you get to choose different the play style becomes different. So Ellie can either get the sword of ice, the sword of fire, or the sword of teleportation, which I think she'd have fun with. Oh, the sword of trickery. So she like kind of like teaches Kratos how to have fun, but on his level. So like she teaches him comedy through bloodshed or some shit like that. She's just fucking insane. Just really insane, you know? Okay.
Let's put a pin in this one. You have another video game idea?
I do have another video game idea for you. You guys missed out yesterday. Like the stuff we were losing yesterday, all of my submissions were Doom related. Thank you, Gazer. All right, this one comes to us from Moss Lucky Charms Soothsayer at the lovely Felix. Wow, that's a long name. A driving sim like Truck Simulator, but for every driving violation you get in the game, the cops show up to your house in real life to either arrest you or give you a fine that you have to pay with real money. I do want to add a mechanic where that you can save up money in the game to pay off your real life tickets. Because that's such a funny in-game currency. But I think this game is about trying to get away with crimes. So you're like trying to get away with crimes. If you can get away with it, you can totally run people over in this game. But if you are caught in game, you get arrested for killing people. You're put on trial, like just as if like that were to happen,
like real life trial.
Like real life trial, because that's what the submission's saying. Like if you do a violation, you will have to pay real ass money and do real ass jail time. So I think this game is just about trying to get away with things. It's like GTA, but if you were caught doing any of the dumb shit you do in GTA, you're going to get arrested. So, like, you know what you could do? You can introduce, in the new Red Dead game, you actually can put on masks. So if you go rob a train, they don't know your identity or they don't know who robbed the train. So maybe
this is the same as
that.
This would be installing an ISP.
An ISP? How do you mean?
Right? No, not ISP, VPN.
Oh, so we're... Oh,
what's so the thing where you...
Yeah, no. VPN's right. VPN.
Okay.
It makes you look like you're coming from a different location.
Yes.
So it's you're violating the law by driving, and then.
But they're not going to come arrest me, Blake. They're going to come arrest you because I have a VPN that says I'm coming from your house.
I don't think it's that exact, but for this game, maybe. And no, it takes your instead of taking your VPN, it takes your what's your internet code or something. It's like it's the thing that like it shows where where people are accessing their internet on
I think that's what cookies
basis.
are.
Is that? I think cookies are just
it's not
like
what cookies are.
Fuck, AJ, we're gonna get texts again of how you and I don't know anything, and then we're gonna get just gonna get shit on in our Discord.
Yeah, let's pick another video game then.
Just because we don't know it.
Yeah. I'm afraid of things I don't know, like any normal American.
Oh Jesus! Give me a game, please. While you're deciding on a game, I just want to make a little thing to everybody, if that's all right. We got so many messages this past week of like people like thanking us for still making content while they're indoors, and just like we're going through some crazy shit here in LA, and like just logging in every day and seeing that was like it helped get me through last week. Like it was like really really soft, and like it's like, man, shit's crazy, but people like what we're doing and that we're helping, and that was really heartfelt for me. Yeah,
I'm glad to know that somebody out there might be listening to this and we're making their quarantine a little bit easier because it's boring out here, y'all. Actually, speaking of which, Blake and I are going to be in the next couple of days on the Spiritual Successor Twitter, kind of shouting out some of the stuff that we've been listening to fill the time for the quarantine. Yeah. So definitely check that out for kind of just a thread of recommendations that we've liked recently. Yeah. We're also starting to do some gaming with our Discord. Like we've been passing out Switch friend codes. We got to figure out, I think, I might just have to pick up Animal Crossing because that's what everybody on the Discord is playing. All right, you got a game submission for me? Here's a submission also from the Reddit. This comes from X-Ray950 on Spiritual Successor Reddit. Hell yeah. An open world online backyard... Wait, nope, that's the wrong one. This comes from the Spiritual Successor Reddit from user GraySever87. A competitive multiplayer game where players, as dogs, must find and bury bones. Points are awarded based on number, quality, and size of the bones buried. So are you stealing bones from... Where do you get the bones, AJ? That's the question, right? Where does a dog get a bone? But I'm not ready to talk about the morality of that question. That's one of the old questions, right? What came first, the chicken or the egg? So, okay. Actually, because I was just mentioning Moonlighter... I love games that double as two different games in one. Moonlighter is, for those who don't know, the greatest game ever made. That's arguable. It's a fun game. I wouldn't say the greatest game. It doubles as two games. One is a roguelike sort of dungeon crawler where you're beating up monsters and picking up their body parts. And then the second part of the game is taking everything you find in these dungeons and selling them in your little shop that you get to design, which is super wholesome and cool. I've been playing Moonlighter almost like before I hopped into Animal Crossing. Moonlighter was like my podcast video game, and it is it's the perfect podcasting video game. You can just listen to anything while you play that. How about this?
This is a co-op game, or like it's a versus game. You are two dogs living under the same house. There's a limited amount of real estate in the backyard, so only a certain amount of bones of varying sizes can be buried there. So that's one part of the game. The second part of the game is each of these dogs going off on their own little hunting sneaky mission where they have to steal a bone from something, either a museum, a morgue, or I don't know where else you find bones. A cemetery, I guess.
Wait. I like this idea a lot. This competitive roguelike video game, right? So like, you and I played Crawl recently, which kind of was like a really exciting competitive roguelike where you entered the dungeon and everybody was competing to be the hero, and then whoever wasn't the hero got to be the monsters.
Yes. Oh, it's such a cool game.
But what if you were playing a game where like, you have a timer of, say, 10 minutes to enter a dungeon, and all four players go into their own rogue-like dungeon where they can run around, go buy parts, get upgrades, and they have to keep going deeper and deeper, but they're only allowed to carry one bone at a time, and maybe their bone is their weapon. So, like, they can upgrade to a different bone as they get deeper and deeper into the dungeon. But once the timer is up, they then have to go back to the backyard, and depending on whoever was furthest in the dungeon gets to go to the backyard first, and they get to hide their bone.
Mm-hmm. Well, when I'm thinking, so we have our base, these two dogs. Like, here's the opening of the game. These two dogs are digging in their backyard for bones. They find a hole that leads into a dungeon, and basically these two dogs can go into the dungeon and fight their way deeper and deeper and deeper. The further you get, the bigger the bones get, or the more like elegant or collectible the bones get.
But if you die, you don't get a bone.
Yes, if you die, you have to start back at the beginning, but you only have 5 minutes to get the biggest bone you can get. But here's the thing. During the last 30 seconds or something, the cave starts to collapse. So then it becomes like running back through all of the levels that you did, and you kind of need to remember the map. So there's a chance that you can get an amazing bone at the deepest dungeon level of this hole, but you might not be able to run back in time.
Okay.
You need to be able to fight your way as fast as you can to the end, but also there's this progression system where you can like Moonlighter, you can get more armor as you go on.
Yes, that was going to be my
cute
next
little doggies
question.
in armor.
So I think that I love this roguelike part of where you're playing a dog going into these dungeons to get a bigger bone. Mm-hmm. I want to nail down, how does the hiding mechanic work when you're trying to hide your bone from your competitor?
I think let's say there's 3 rounds, and maybe you have a backpack that has a limited amount of space. Let's say that way you can get more than just one bone. There is say there's 10 boxes on the grid of the backyard. Certain bones take up more squares, but the bigger the bone, the more it's worth. So there's a limited amount of space that you can have. So during one descent, you can collect this many bones, and say you collect more than one, but you only have enough space.
So does the final round, after your dungeoneering round, that timer comes up, everybody's supposed to go back up, you hide your bones, and then you play a game of Battleship?
Well, I see what you're getting at. You want to turn... I was thinking more of just it's whoever has the bigger or the biggest collection of bones, either individual bones that are huge or just a bunch of small ones that equate to more than that big bone.
It's not just a score thing, because part of the submission was a multiplayer games where players as dogs hide and bury their bones. And also you mentioned Moonlighter, and Moonlighter has such a clear difference in gameplay from the dungeoneering and the shop running. So I want to figure out what that game is when you're above ground post dungeoneering.
I have it.
Okay, what is it?
The whole reason dogs...
tell me in 2 sentences, because I do want to put a pin in this. This has nuggability.
Okay, I think this is what it should be. So basically, you know why dogs hide bones? Is because they don't want anybody else to fucking find them.
I've always thought it was because they were trying to plant a bone tree.
Okay, that very different things. Well, stick with me, and then we can maybe talk about that idea. Okay. I'm thinking what happens is you can randomly plant your bone on your side of the yard, but then there's going to be a couple people that are going to come do a random sweep and dig things up. So depending on where you plant it, that might be higher chances of it being dug up, or maybe it's a random thing. So I don't like a human is going like the dad is in the backyard gardening and he finds a bone. That means you lost that bone. It doesn't add to your score. So there's like a kind of a gambling element of like, okay, I want to space my bones apart, so just in case he finds one, he doesn't find the rest of them or something like that.
But I don't think it's like the AI. Like I think that the other players can guess where your bones are. Like I really want to lean into like I like this battleship idea actually.
So
maybe there's a thing where like when you're dungeoneering, right? Like you're down in the dungeon, you can find items or purchase items in the dungeoneering phase that would let you get a second guess as to where somebody's bone is at. Like where they buried it.
So if it's you versus me, it would be like after we both collected our bones, I could take a couple of guesses where some of your bones are going to be, and if I dig them up, they're mine now.
Yes.
Oh, okay. I see where you're going. I think that's really, really good. Let's put a pin in this.
Okay, let's put a pin in this.
Yes. Fucking, I want to see dogs in armor. I think it's so cute.
Oh, we're getting dogs in armor, it sounds like.
This one comes to us from Twitter, from Scrimmy... His name always trips me up. Scrimmy Bingus, certified dingus at Coyote, okay looking. Freddie Mercury goes through the gauntlets of heaven and hell to be brought back to life in the 1980s. His goal, bring a CD containing modern-day knowledge of HIV, AIDS to doctors and scientists during the AIDS crisis. The final boss is Ronald Reagan. Hey, AJ?
Yeah.
This is just fucking Doom, but with Freddie Mercury.
Are you telling me that Doom guy is currently going through the time to try to kill Ronald Reagan and bring knowledge about the HIV virus to common day?
I mean, one of the guys is, they're not comparable, but sure, for this joke. Yeah, the main villain of Samuel Hayden is just Ronald Reagan.
Spoilers!
It's in the first game. You know who he is.
Yeah, but I didn't know that he was a bad guy because I never finished Doom 1.
You're missing out. Fuck, we have like half a playthrough on our old Fractoid gaming thing.
I know.
I should lend that to you. It's such a good game. Okay, so you are fighting angels and demons. Actually, you know what this is comparable to?
Bayonetta.
How?
I just feel like Bayonetta and Freddie Mercury have like the same level of gravitas and flair and sexual power.
Okay, that's fair.
You know what I mean? Like you look at Bayonetta and you're like, oh God, who's not attracted to you? And you look at Freddie Mercury and it's like, oh God, who's not attracted to you?
Okay, you got some points. Okay, so Bayonetta, but with like a little bit of Dante's Inferno sort of vibe to it.
Okay, yeah, I'm into that.
Because he's like fighting through the 8 circles of hell. Okay, so this is a franchise game, actually. So like the first one is obviously Freddie Mercury went to heaven and he's trying to get out, and he's like, for you to get out.
I've got to break free.
Oh,
was that Freddie Mercury?
Yes, that was.
Yes!
That was Queen. You know who we get to do the soundtrack because they do the best fucking Queen covers ever?
You're just looking for another excuse to plug the Proto Men in our podcast, aren't you?
You fucking bet I am. Just like how you're always looking to like plug Gurren Lagann or Promare, I'm always looking to plug freaking Proto Men. If you guys haven't heard, I'm gonna go on a little side music tangent
complete your plug.
If you guys want to hear the best Queen covers, I would recommend listening to the Proto Men cover album of A Night at the Opera. It's so fucking good. Also, if you like that sweet like arena rock sort of vibe, Proto Men are your alley. Like some of the names: Neon Leon, Raoul Panther III, Commander B. Hawkins, and what's the other one? Lightning something.
These are the band members, not song names.
Yeah, these are the
important
band
to note.
Members. So fucking good. So the first game is him fighting to get out of heaven. Then he crash lands in hell and has to fight his way through that to get back to Earth. And then the final game is just him fighting through 1980s America.
What I love about this is like through all 3 zones, he will have another rival character.
Are his rivals just other like artists trying to fight their way? Like the second game is him just going up against Prince.
Yes, and the third game, the rival character is Ronald Reagan.
Oh fuck. Okay. Actually, who was like a poster singer for Ronald Reagan? Because I feel like that's going to be his henchman. And
Who was a big Republican singer during that time? I have no fucking idea.
Yeah, I have no idea either.
Let me just really quick. Republican musicians in the 1980s. Elvis Presley was apparently a Republican.
Oh, holy shit. Okay, yeah, we're fighting old Elvis Presley
Hold
in the
on,
final
wait.
game.
Let me finish through here. Gene Simmons was a Republican, apparently. Now tell me that would not make a good fucking reoccurring villain in the Hell playthrough of number 2.
Shit. Okay, so Gene Simmons, we
you
fight
want your
him.
fucking like Doom energies.
Oh, fuck. He just like, his thing is anytime he needs to heal,
Kid
he bites
Rock
the head off
is a fucking Republican. I knew it. I knew it.
I thought we were going to. Oh, that's right. We had this discussion on the last podcast, right?
Yeah, we did.
Like, you wouldn't be surprised if Kid Rock was like super Republican. I think what we should do. Gene Simmons is the hell guide or the hell boss. Elvis Presley would be a pretty good boss in heaven because he wears like all white and stuff.
Yes.
He'd be kind of like an angel thing. And then who is gonna be I think maybe
Ronald Reagan.
Prince? I feel like no. I think like Prince needs to be like the right-hand man of Ronald Reagan. He's like, oh, you know what his boss stage looks like? It's just like a fucking raging storm, but all the rain is purple.
Oh shit, that's
and
cool.
Like
actually.
he fights with doves. Like that's his whole thing. Holy. Okay, so we figured this game out. So he's fighting his way. Once he defeats Ronald Reagan, he gets the CD. I don't think CDs were CDs were like a late 90s thing. So is that how the game ends? He has a CD. He's like, oh, I guess I jumped back a little bit too far.
Go quickly. Advance your technology. You need to get this to the people.
What is the circular disc? No, he's got to bring it to him on laser disc. I think that would be a little bit more applicable.
Bro, who would use a laser disc at that time either?
Laser discs was around in the 80s.
Yeah, but I don't know if people used it even when it was around.
Yeah, it was really expensive. So like if it's got medical stuff, I'm sure like the people who would need to view it would be able to view it.
Sorry, I was getting a phone call.
Not a problem. All right, so I think it's Nug time, bro. Or
it's
do you want to do
time.
a couple? You want to do a couple lightning round, or you want to do Nug?
No, I want to do this Nug. I really think that our Nug is the roguelike video game, the competitive roguelike where you play as a dog going into a dungeon, and then you have to play Battleship against your fellow dogs.
I do like it. It's definitely, I think it's pretty fleshed out. So, okay, so you can play different kinds of dogs, because that would give you different abilities in the dungeons.
Yeah, I think that, like, you and I, again, we played Crawl recently, and I want to take some stuff out of their handbasket. And like one of their things is like they had unlockable characters.
Mm-hmm.
So I definitely think that like there's different dogs with different bonuses and different like skills.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe there's a dog that starts the game off with a sword. And so like while the sword doesn't count as a bone, it is very high damage that can rush you through some of the earlier floors.
Mm-hmm.
But so because they're carrying a sword, they're a little slower. You just know that you're going to get through those first floors safer.
So could you do a thing where, like, say the beginning of the game is you have like in Crawl, you choose the god that you worship, and then that gives you access to a couple different sub monsters.
Well, I don't know if we have sub monsters in this game.
Well, what I'm thinking is say you depending on what dog you choose, you have access to different litters. So you have like 4 dogs. If you choose this one dog, you have access to 4 puppies. And then you can assign which puppy you want to use on what levels. So like the moment you go down to another level, it's like tag, where it just gives you the access to that. You want to specialize one dog to each level.
Oh, I see what you mean. Okay, so
you build a team that accesses these 4 different dungeon
Okay, so
levels.
then rather than here it is. Rather than gods, you get to pick your owner. And the owner will have like a lab, a boxer, and a corgi.
Okay.
Or another one will have like 4 dachshunds.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and maybe those aren't necessarily like, I don't know if they're necessarily things that you can swap every floor, Maybe there is somebody that has the option to swap every floor, but I think that those are better to think of as lives, maybe per the run.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so the dogs can do the same things roughly. They just look different.
They look different, yeah. I mean, maybe there's some differences, right? Like if you have a Great Dane, the Great Dane probably has a lot more health than the Chihuahua. Maybe this.
Okay,
maybe we don't do the lives thing. Maybe we just have a bunch of different dogs with a bunch of different stats you can choose from.
Yeah, simplify it, and then depending on like, oh, I know my weaknesses is that I tend to get hit a lot, and I need to be a little bit more agile. Let me choose a dog that gives me an extra dash or something like that.
Yes. Okay.
Or
so then
extra reach.
So then we'll do this like maybe Binding of Isaac style. Like you go in, and as you play this game with friends, you're gonna unlock more of the dogs.
Oh, they're like little like prisoners, like locked in like in dungeons. So like if you find a key on one level, you can go to the opposite and unlock somebody, like Gungeon style, where you have to find the key to a cell in one part of the level and then bring it to the opposite side and unlock that person's cell.
I like that a lot. That leans into like the party game element, because then I may lose the round, but hey, I did unlock us a new dog.
Yeah. And then, oh, you know what? These dogs, what do dogs hate? They hate gophers. So maybe this is like a dungeon built by gophers.
Yeah.
So the gophers have been kidnapping like the local like neighborhood dogs, and that's the whole thing of it.
Okay.
So you're like, so the moment you free a dog, it goes back to its owner. So you unlock a new owner and their dog or something, or just unlock that dog.
Yeah, you unlock a new dog for your home.
Okay, let's talk armor. So like, is there like a material system in this, like with Moonlighter, where you have, actually, you know what it could be? Actually, I don't know, because we kind of want to have this, like everything you unlock, everybody has access to. So I'm trying to figure out. Go ahead.
What if you created a little bit of like a roguelite situation? Like, I remember back in the day, back when Mario Party could go longer than 15 minutes tops. You could kind of set up like a timer, right? So what if like there is an RPG gear system and you can unlock armor and upgrade yourself so that you can go back down into the dungeons? But at the very beginning of the session, you set up, hey, we're going to play this game for 30 minutes, or hey, we're going to play this game for 40 minutes.
I think you should do rounds, like, because each round you come back with new things and new unlockables. So like, there's always like a marketplace on each level, just like any of these roguelike things. There's like a place you can always go buy things. So whatever you buy, you'll be able to use for your next run. So like, say you and I are doing a thing and we want to do 3 rounds of this, and each round, whoever has the most bones wins that round. And we'll have to discuss on like, what do you get out of that? Like, if you have more bones, is there like more points? Do you have, you have more money to spend on the next round? Like, you have more money to spend in the marketplace so you can get a little bit further in the next round.
Ooh, I like that a lot, actually. Okay.
Or you could do a thing like Monster Hunter style, like the more bones you have, the more armor you can craft. So like, the more raw material you have, like these dogs wearing bone armor, that's fucking radical.
That is really fucking cool. I like the idea that the more bones you have after the round of Battleship, the more money you have to purchase armor. I definitely like the idea of there being a bone armor.
Okay, so is there a marketplace at the top? Like, before you go into the dungeon, you can do things, or can you only buy... Oh, it'd be kind of weird, like kind of interesting. It doesn't really happen in Moonlighter. Well, actually, kind of. You kind of just upgrade things, and whatever you take into the dungeon is what you have with you.
Yeah.
So if you die, you go back to the beginning of the dungeon. You go back to the backyard, and what if you dropped everything you brought into the dungeon? So you could do a thing where like, okay, I want to bring 50 bones with me so I can buy whatever armor once I'm in there. But if you die, you lose those 50 bones and whatever you're currently carrying. So the game could shift on a paradigm.
We're adding a lot of gameplay mechanics for a roguelike. You know what I mean? Like, this is all stuff that's going to be scrapped after the 20-minute game session.
Okay, I see what you mean. Like, you just want it to be upgrades that are like simple. And
yeah, like if there's a shop between rounds, I think that's totally fine and very good.
Okay, let's do that then. So after the battle game, the battleship game, you have like a minute to spend your money, and then you go into the next round, see how far you can get and who gets more bones.
Yes,
Just
and
really quick, really fast.
Yeah, and like that would be like a 20-minute session, however many rounds you can fit within that timer. And I like the idea that like if you go to the next floor, it starts a timer for your competitor so that your competitor knows like, oh, okay, we're moving on to the next round now.
Okay, so like if somebody initiates, well, actually, I don't think there should be pressure because it could be like you have a set amount of time. So like if you manage to get to the end of the dungeon, you just have more time to go running around and finding collectibles.
But
like,
how
I don't
often
think
are you going to like be like, oh, I'm in a roguelike, I better go back to a room?
I think there could be, if you play the thing where like you find a key in level 3 that unlocks a door in level 1, you have the option of doing that. Then it just becomes like, is this worth my time? And will I still be able to collect my big bone if I decide to do this? Is unlocking a new dog worth the time it's going to cost me? I think that's kind of intriguing because it makes you balance like what things are worth.
Okay, that's a good point.
Yeah.
Let's do this. Okay, then what are you suggesting for the system, just so that I get it a little bit clearer?
What do you mean?
Like, what is the game loop?
You go through, you fight your way room to room, and then you like come across things in room like, oh, there's a jail cell. It needs a diamond-shaped key or an X-shaped key, and then you just keep an eye out for it. You know.
Now, what happens when you decide to go to the next floor? Or is there not a floor? It's just an endlessly expanding roguelike dungeon until the timer is up.
I think you could do that, but I would also like to introduce bosses at the end of everything.
That's why I want to do floors, right? Like that's why I'm thinking like you do a floor. That way if somebody beats their boss and moves on to the next floor before the competitor doesn't necessarily have time to just be like, well, he finished his boss and ran out of stuff, but I'm going to just kick it and figure out all the stuff that I want.
Okay, so let's say it's never ending, and here's the thing. Every enemy you fight on the level gives you small bones, sometimes like, let's go like common, uncommon, and rare bones. So then you go through, you fight all the little bosses, the little enemies that give you common and uncommons that you can use for the battleship game. The bosses give you the rare bones, like the really, really cool big ones that are like weirdly shaped and interesting that'll give you a lot of money in between rounds.
You can only hold 5 bones.
Yeah, you can only hold 5 bones. So you can do a thing where like you can go through 5 bosses and just do 5 super rare bones, or you're like, okay, I'm just going to focus on trying to this round just try and get the commons and uncommons because I'm not really geared up to take on a boss or something like that.
Yes, I like this game a lot actually.
And then different classes give you different bone values. So like you're the Chihuahua where it's like it's harder to beat things up, but like to your perspective, a small bone is a giant bone because you're a small dog.
Yeah, the smaller bones are worth more.
It's worth more to you as a dog, like
or
more
if
real
you
estate.
Like beat a boss that gives you like a special bone that's very small, you get a bonus point.
Yes, or like certain bones, like the bosses are randomly generated or something. Like there's different kinds of bosses. So like each boss can randomly spawn a special bone that might match up with your class. Like you're a Doberman Pinscher, so like bones that are like joints are more worth it to you than anything else. Or something like that.
Yes, I like that a lot.
So if like you luck out and get the bone that you're like, for lack of a better description, proficient in, you I've been reading through the D&D books, so like I just like proficiency on my mind.
It's a good word, yeah.
Dude, fuck yeah, that's a cool game. What are we gonna call it?
What are we gonna call it? I kind of like the idea of just calling it Doghouse. Bone to pick's not bad either.
So, or dog bone, or dog bones.
Throw a dog a bone?
Throw a dog a bone. That's a fun one. I'm trying to think of like a 2-word like catchy title, like because there's Crawl, there's Gungeon, there's Moonlighter. It's like a lot of the rogues are really like. Oh, I have one for you. Dogvania.
Dogvania.
So
Why? It's not like a Metroidvania.
fuck it. Vania's a cool thing. Castlevania got away with it.
Yeah, because that's the fucking thing. It's a.
I mean, like, sure. I mean, like, sure. How about this? If we implement, like, if you get a certain weapon or a certain power in one of the later levels, you can go back to previous levels and unlock new rooms on that level. So, like, you can unlock secret bosses on previous levels.
What?
Well, I mean, okay. Metroidvania is all about the thing of you unlock new power-ups that give you access to
but you
previous
can't
areas.
do a roguelike Metroidvania.
AJ,
That's a completely different
this is a
game.
Fake game.
We're not adding that wrinkle in this late into the setup.
Well, you know what? We still need to add bosses, so this game could fall in on itself.
No, it's not a Metroidvania.
Okay, but still, let's call it Bonevania or Dogvania.
I want to call it Doghouse.
You want to call it Doghouse?
Yes.
Okay.
Alternatively, Dogpile.
Ooh, Dogpile's way better.
All right,
It's a little bit
Dogpile
more
it
action.
is.
I
Do we
fucking
want to
love it.
see
All right.
if we got a boss in our Discord for this video game?
I do have one.
Let me hear it, bud.
All right. Garfield is a summon for this battle. So I'm thinking at the end of all this, because it's supposed to be kind of dogs versus cats, right? Or it's like, it's kind of dog.
Well, we said it was dogs versus moles.
Yeah, but maybe
But I do like
Garfield
the
is-
idea that there's maybe a boss that is Garfield. Like, who's to say that there isn't some cats down
okay.
here?
Yeah. Okay. Actually, you know, we should talk a little bit about like what we'll use our boss fight thing on Discord is like these are some of the random ass bosses that you would fight in this roguelike.
Yes.
So Garfield's one. Do you have another one?
Yeah, I got one from Gazer. Waffles the Nightmare Dragon?
I was just looking at that one. So is it okay? Real question: is it a dragon that breathes waffles, or is it a dragon that covets waffles?
I think it's just a really spook-ass, mean-looking dragon named Waffles.
Okay, I like that. Oh, that like before you go into the boss like ring, it's just like it has like a little decrepit like sign that just says Waffles the Dragon on it.
Yes.
Waffles the Nightmare Dragon. Dude, fuck yeah. Oh god. An unwarranted K-pop video in your Twitter reply. So you have to fight. One of them is a K-pop troupe of moles. So like in K-pop K-pop troops are huge. Like there's a couple of them that go up to like 50 members, right? So this is one
Some
of those
them
boss
get up
fights.
there.
So this boss fight is you're fighting like 50 like mini bosses in one big arena. So like one swipe of your sword will knock away like 3 of them, but you still have like 47 of them to go.
Hell yes, I love that. And like the health bar gets smaller and smaller every time you kill one of them.
Yep. All right, do you have one more, or do you think that is it for our little game?
I think that's it for this game. I like this idea and like, yeah, I like this game. Would we
Little
decide
Dogpile.
Dogpile?
Yeah, Dogpile's it, man.
That's a game, I think.
That is a game, I think. Are we ready to go to patch notes?
Yeah, let's go to patch notes.
Hey, everybody, and welcome to Patch Notes. If you guys like this podcast, make sure to share it with a friend. I know everybody's on the lookout for new content while we're stuck inside for the next month, and I think podcasts are a fun little medium for that. I know I've been chewing through Night Vale.
Oh, you've been chewing through Night Vale?
Yeah, like I took a break from it for a little while because it just kind of got I was just reading a lot more, and I just didn't find myself listening to podcasts.
Gotcha.
But now that I'm just kind of like inside and just playing Doom, sometimes it's nice to just turn on Night Vale. It's a really good podcast if you haven't heard of it.
Podcasts are a great thing to like kind of share around right now too. I know, like as long as we're plugging stuff really quick, I've been listening to the Counterweight story from Friends at the Table.
Ooh, there you go.
And it's just really good. And like Blake and I said, we're gonna leave like a Twitter thread on probably Tuesday or Wednesday of some of the stuff that we've been checking out lately. And you know, if you guys want to check those out or share this podcast with a friend right now, I think that'd be a cool thing to throw their way.
Additionally, too, on that thread, if you guys want to be adding stuff that you're listening to,
oh yes,
and that
please,
think
please,
everybody
please.
else wants to check out, I know I'll definitely be peeking through that. And I think that's it for this week. Hopefully, us recording in two separate places doesn't make the whole pacing of this sound a little too different.
Yeah, and if it does feel a little bit weird, bear with us. We're figuring out this workflow too.
All right, guys.
Thank you all so much for listening. This has been Spiritual Successor. Our intro and outro music is Cheap Shop by Anna Monoguchi, an excellent song from an excellent band for an excellent game. I have been your host, AJ Hart.
And I have been your other host, Blake Rhea.
And these are cool games
that should not be made.